Hi there. Hi there. So we sorted out the technical difficulties that we had last time. So we're back on track and in time. For those of you who have not met me, my name is Pashri. I'm the MD of BrandNow.Asia. And today we're doing an episode with Kun Judah. On market research, yes. Kun Judah is the co-founder and MD of Milieu, and I'm so happy that she's here. She's we got some projects in the works right now that we're coordinating. So I really wanted to bring her on board and share with you guys, for those, especially those who may not have had any experience in regards to market research and wondered, when to do it, how to do it, what to expect when you start to do it, right? So, and how does it help brands to make better decisions when it goes to campaign creation or market strategy, so on and so forth. So without further ado, I welcome Ms. Judah. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting.
And can you give our audience a little bit of background about you and how you came into market research?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me today, Kun Nui. Really feel honored. So just a brief about my background. I actually used to work with a lot of agency side on the market research, and also for the clients like Tesco, Big C, and also from the agency side will be those TNS, Kantar, as well as GFK. So I've been working with a lot of the data regarding all those FMCG products, as well as electronic products as well.
Wow.
So it's more covered many type of industry.
Yeah. So how many years of experience is that total?
Well, I really don't want to say it because you're going to count my age. So I've been doing in the research field for over 15 years plus already. So from starting after I came back from US and then started my career right away. So it's been quite long. Don't count, please.
No worries. So let's dive into some of our questions here, and of course we welcome any questions from our audience who's watching us in real time. And of course, maybe later on, for those of you who aren't able to catch us today, maybe you'll send us some questions as well. Are all market research firms the same?
Well, to me, when you ask that question, I have to say it could be the same in some angle, and cannot be the same also. Why I'm saying the same? Because some of the company are actually doing in similar type. So you can say they are the same. But for some other agency, they do is different type. So they can be the same in those different type. So when talking the type of the market research, when I just mentioned that, so there are two types of market research firms. So one type is called syndicated market research firm. So these market research firms actually they will kind of conduct the research, collect the information for like in the area of majority of like in area of the kind of vast interest, like mass interest for many clients.
Oh, like so, some of the FMCGs that you're doing.
Exactly. Okay. So they will gather all the kind of market data landscape of those particular industry. So these are called syndicated, and not only one client that can buy, many clients can buy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you have syndicated, and what's the second kind?
The second kind is called custom study. So it's custom market research firm. These are the study that actually kind of provided and conducted and funded by one single client.
Ah, okay. So when it's syndicated, it's like, okay, let's say you study all FMCG products, and it could just be like foundation.
Yeah, probably.
One of the products that we were talking about. Yes. And then what do? Then do they just buy that report?
Yeah, the client that would like to see those data will need to subscribe somehow. Buy that information, and you based on how the agency actually sell it to the client. So you might want only the piece of that subscription because you only want to understand the market of foundation.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but for some clients like retailer, they will need to understand so many products. They will have to subscribe big data from like maybe all the categories of FMCG. Yeah. And many, when I mentioned earlier about the same, see, now there are some particular agency or market research they will only provide a syndicated.
Oh, okay.
Now,
they're only doing
just only the market data.
Okay.
Yeah. And some agency will do only custom. They will not have this kind of data. They will
Oh, it's not usually a mix?
No.
You don't
some,
have?
No.
Yeah.
Some
do?
have. Some actually have both of the services as well.
Then they must be very large agencies. Right? It sounds like it takes a lot of people to do this kind of study.
It depends on the expertise and experience and like the kind of what is called proprietary expert in that field.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we're clear on what are market researchers doing, and there's two types, syndicated and custom studies. Let's talk about how can market researcher help companies and brands.
Yeah, let's start with like based on my own experience then. So when the company and brands like the end goal most of the time they have want to grow the business, want the opportunity. They always have question. How do I grow the business? How to expand? Where is the opportunity? So who should I target? Those kind of questions always come along the journey from the start to the end.
Yeah.
So within that journey, the market research will interact with them to understand each part of it. Let's say example, when you want to enter to the market, you are the new brand. First thing first, just mention about the type of study earlier. You need the market data. You need to understand how the situation of the particular category actually sitting or doing in that country.
Right.
So the market study from the syndicated agency will help you on that part. Once the company come in, the next step question.
Right. Once you start to know a little bit of the lay of the land, one of the examples that one example literally as I was preparing myself for this Facebook Live, because I usually exercise in the morning and I can't put my makeup on like right away, was the foundation. And we were talking like if a foundation comes into, let's say, the Thai market.
Okay.
I know you guys also have an office in Singapore as well,
yes,
right?
we have the office in Singapore.
Right. So let's say a European brand wants it into the Thai market, and maybe we had said, okay, initially they could have been popular with the student group, right? And then they come and then they look at a syndicated study, and then now they kind of have to decide, like, okay, this is normally what my price points are, and due to, let's say they're just going to strictly import, they're not going to produce here, import duties, customs, all this other stuff, when they take all those things in consideration, it changes the price point a little bit. So how does market research help the brand, in that situation? Like, now that you're going to come in and you cannot like literally just go after the exact same market.
Yeah, so definitely you need to understand first what is now you know the market. You need to understand the customer in Thailand, how they actually behave. Because sometimes the syndicate study is not all the answer. So you need to, you say it's foundation. So let's say you need to how the people in Thailand actually use foundation. Is this the same as in Europe that you sell? How people perceive of the European brand once they come to Thailand? Will the consumer in Thailand be still, will the target, like consumer target, will be the same as student? It could be now changed because it's perception of like perception of the people toward that Europe brand may be higher. So the people who use it, the target that they think should be the student, no longer be student. Will be a bit more maybe first jobber or maybe higher than that. So the market research will come and help them test it.
Cool. How do you test? Take us through that.
Yeah, so there are many tests on that. The first thing, if you need to understand how the people feel about your products first. So we have a study in the research agency. It's called placement test. So it's that product testing. So you give the product to you give the product to your target audience. That agency will be the one who recruit based on the brief that the company already give and decide these are my target, and then let them test. And then those feedback will be collected. Yeah, so
we touched on, sometimes some clients feel like, well, why should I do that? Can't I just ask my own staff to test? So can can we, go on this point about what's the difference between formal, informal, and biases?
Yeah, definitely. So when we talk about formal, the name is already states formal.
Yes.
So that means it must be systematic, organized, and somehow with the formal study, it maybe involve the modeling and can be explained scientifically. Or
What
with
does modeling mean?
Modeling is like, or giving the example. So let's say for the foundation that you mentioned, now you need to understand the people, the segmentation of the people that actually buy your product, the foundation.
Yeah.
So there may be student, there may be first shopper, there may be maybe high income earner. So now you need to see what is the proportion of those group.
That's going to be open to your product, right?
Exactly.
Because they might reject it for certain reasons.
Exactly. And you would definitely see the sizing. Within those sizing, the modeling, as in call in terms of research called, let's say, cluster analysis, will involve to help cluster the people into the segment. Now that is the formal research.
Okay.
But when you mention about
that's a
there is
quite systematic. So
Systematic.
what's informal then?
when it's informal, it's something like you mentioned. You give the product like for staff to try. There is no setting of the target because your staff may not be your target market. That's already, and also that could be the bias because your staff work in your company. They don't want to feel like, oh, I actually really don't like, but I just want to say might make my boss happy. I say I like it. That kind of thing. This is informal, but the informal, it doesn't mean unplanned.
Okay.
It could be planned and it can be structured good too. So that
how do we make it scientifically and usable in terms of decision making?
Many companies use both. Why? When you mention about like informal, see, let's say it somehow is help you kind of give the pre-insight of how people like it. Let's say you want to do for this foundation again. You say you ask your staff. That's informal already.
Right.
Hey, my staff majority, like you ask like 10 people, and my team member of doing this market, they say they like it a lot. They like it as in they feel so smooth and those kind. So is that smooth is actually relevant to my target market.
Right.
Now you taste with that smooth wording attribute to your target audience.
Right.
Now,
and could there be a perfect substitute for that as well?
it depends on the objective of the study, or depend on the objective of the question or the what's called the answer that you actually want to find out.
I wanted to ask you, when we do this placement test, can we also get a SWOT from that?
Wow, that's really yes and no. Yes, you can see it, but it's not the whole thing because you only see based on your the user that use your product. You don't see what about other product.
Right.
The SWOT will involve strength, weakness, threat, and opportunity. How you see the threat? The threat may be only in your product. What about others? They have the same or not? Whether they say you think is a smooth is actually your strength, but others also smooth. What is that level? Smooth level. So exactly.
Is it more? Is it less?
Yeah.
And then the price point affects the decision.
Exactly. So this could be the threat. Or it could be the opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Is could be yes as in a certain level, but could be no if you want to make decision based on that's what you need to you get the deeper insight.
Right. Yeah. So let's help some of our audience understand when should they engage a market researcher? Like when do you know beyond, like, let's say you're an MD or you're a brand manager, you do some kind of like internal testing, and then at some point, what triggers the need to start speaking with a professional like you?
Okay, that's actually happen most of the time. It's come with the questions. So most of the time when the brand or the company want to engage in research, because the internal information or what information that they have inside on hands no longer answer that issue. So now let's say give example again on the foundation. Now you say you have a sale data already. You already know who actually buy, how actually it's grow, but now you want to expand another product line on the foundation. So you want to see whether who is actually gonna buy it. What price point if I create new product or do the new product development. So now you engage already because the internal information cannot answer that.
Because your segment may change also or something like this.
So if to summarize, when internal information cannot answer, then you engage.
Yeah, their market research to help you get that information. Okay, now in this day and age of big data, right? Because it's the hot job, thing that has come into the market in the last few years. So what's the impact of big data and analytics in relationship to market research? Is it good? Is it helpful? Is it bad? Is it conflict? How do you see it? How do you see?
I actually think it should be go hand in hand. It's really enhance the market research to get more accurate data too. So why? Like let's say you mentioned about like these big data things, right? So people maybe the brand may already know the client or that particular customer go from this website to another website, and they instead of clicking the first page, they click on the second page. Now why? Why they change their mind? Why they do that? Those big data may not answer that. So you need to understand why you don't click it. You don't like the page, you don't like the picture, or it's really cannot find the button.
Right, so there could be multiple reasons, right?
Exactly. So those you need the feedback from the market research to kind of conduct that to understand the behavior.
And what do you call that? Is it qualitative or quantitative? When you need to go into like you know they're jumping into page 2,
yes,
but you don't understand why. So what is that called in your language?
It could be, to me, I call it the quantitative data. Why I'm saying this? Because I need to collect in terms of the number of people. So I can say that, let's say there is no button there. And when I do the research, I ask the people, why you don't click it? Oh, and the people, 70% of people say, I don't see the button. So when you mention about number,
maybe too low. Maybe the button is too low down.
Too low, something like that. That could be, when you mention it too low, then
they don't see. So they skip.
It could be, it already be the qualitative information already because too low. How many people say it's too low? That will be quantitative information. So sometimes when the business come with the problem, either quantitative or the qualitative may not answer everything. It depends on the objective of the business. Also.
And you would help them design that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what can brands or company expect when they first start working with a market research? I imagine you probably work with some new agencies because there is also returning customers as well.
That's true.
But then, like when you have newbies coming in, and what can they expect? Like what are your process the first, before you actually get into designing and everything?
Most of the time, I mean, in terms of the customer who expect from the market research, I think it's really different. Many are actually expect that when I go to the market research, the result must really like just snatch the finger and then that is the answer for mine. But it's not. It's not all the time.
Okay, why is that? Tell me.
See, the thing is because the market research only they will follow the structure based on the objective that we will need to answer, right? So we will give the answer of those market research. We will give you the direction where to go. But those results will not roll the, kind of what they say is like roll the boat for you.
Okay.
Cannot, because the business at the end of the day, business is the person who decide where to go,
what to do with that information.
Right,
because it's not the magical pill.
Yeah. So to expect, you would need to definitely you need to expect the expertise from the market researcher to tell you what type of information you need. What do you need to do
to answer those
questions? Right. But once the result come out, then it's the business that to decide which direction you need to go. Because we already give you like multiple direction, maybe. Yeah. But maybe propose to you one potential direction. Then maybe you not go with it.
It's possible.
Cannot.
Yeah,
I have to
because
lower my price a lot. I can't go with it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So-
Right. It's possible that it may not be acceptable in terms of a business plan
Exactly.
or business strategy.
Yeah.
Right. So the recommendation is not 100%.
100% of just that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So those were my questions. Was there anything that you want to add? Before we close out this Facebook Live today
Well,
for our audience.
well, actually, please feel free to ask any question. Maybe send to BrandNow
Sure.
on the Facebook, and then
Yeah.
we'll be willing to answer for everything that
Yeah.
you may have, if I can answer that.
So Kuntuda, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate you coming and giving us clarity on what does market research do, how do they do it, and giving us examples and the pros and cons of the situation when working through how to answer questions for brands and companies. I really appreciate your help today. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome, and I really feel honored coming here today too.
Thank you guys. If we could be of service to you or someone you know, please reach out to us. Have a great day.
Have a good day.